earlymorningmob.com, the Golden Debate Show. Kryptonite.
America is one big pothole right now.
Yeah, I'm shining gold on these men, son. Truth. Hunting and assassinating all the media for the truth. For a better world. Open mind, not an empty one. Let's get it. Like, comment, share, and download. That's the only way that the show gets its word out. That's the way that we defeat these vamps.
America is one big pothole right now.
Down there in one of those catacombs. Science. Science.
What do you think are the most serious issues faced by?
Consider this the recap. Killing all the vamps on the revamped, remixed edition. Reloaded. Kryptonite.
Atlantic rainforest.
Go to the debate show. Debate on this. Let's debate these vamps.
There's simply nowhere for these animals to live. At the basis of it all is this
mac and cheese.
colossal
Everybody deserves their mac
increase
and
in the human
cheese.
population. It's one of the living species of the planet, but it's reaching plague proportions.
I remember we had an FBI consultant on the picture telling me that they can use your ADT security box microphone to get your stuff that's going on in your house, or OnStar, they could shut your car down. And he told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. And I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation.
That's crazy talk. No.
Joining the picture, the FBI consultant. And it was like one of those phone calls. It was like, what are you wearing type of things. Really? Yeah, so it was mad weird.
Oh, that's just
they had a record of you from 2 years prior to me joining the page and being associated with the movie.
Well, that seems
It's extremely creepy.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wow.
Love it. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. I'm trying to think of what the last 4 phone calls been. That's what I'm saying.
America is one big pothole right now.
Mac and cheese.
What's the trait you most deplore in yourself and the trait you most deplore in others?
Laziness.
You're lazy?
You know, it's interesting.
Like, comment, share, and download. Go to the debate show, earlymorningmob.com. Let's get these hits and the likes up, baby. Shine gold on these vamps.
I think there's a
Truth and
laziness in
knowledge.
me.
Open mind.
Employees around the country are cashing in their first paycheck of the new year, and they're feeling the pinch. Every employee in America started paying the 2% higher payroll tax as of January the 1st. But how much money are we talking about? CNBC's Eamon Javers is live in Washington. And Eamon, you've crunched the numbers on this. A lot of people scratching their heads saying, what the FICA? Give us the
You
said that in television, Thomas. But look, that temporary payroll tax cut enacted under President Obama did die at the end of 2012, which means that everyone in the country is going to see a bigger tax bite out of their paychecks this year. So how big of a bite is it? Take a look at some of these numbers. For a single person making $600,000 a year, paid bi-weekly, gross income in a paycheck is $2,307.69. Now subtract federal withholding taxes, Medicare, and state taxes, and then look at FICA. That's the fee that pays for Social Security. This person paid $96.93 in December, but now look at that same person's new paycheck in January. Gross pay is the same, as are the Medicare and state taxes, but FICA taxes go up sharply to $143.08. Now that's a $46.15 hit to the wallet every 2 weeks, and that's grocery money or a tank of gas every 2 weeks. Real money
cut the face of the wallet. I told you the vampires to suck the energy engine money. Go to debate.
You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work.
So for the home cook, then, how can they go about trying to incorporate it in a broader fashion and understand that it can be more than just addressing more than just a condiment?
If you're doing, a nice mac and cheese with pieces of bacon, there's a little bit of maple syrup in the bacon.
America is one big pothole right now.
Science. Okay. Shut up already. This is science.
Yo, 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 this is King Midas, and you're listening to The Golden Show. It's King Midas certified. Golden.
We interrupt this program
the special bulletin.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote.
Let's vote for jobs.
All constitutional rights
that mac and cheese,
have
everybody.
been suspended. Stay in your home.
So this is off the 89 album, I believe. Iceberg off Ice-T. This guy is a spoken word poet and the leader of the punk rock band, the Dead Kennedys. He's also a political activist. So this is his little skit that he did for Ice-T's show.
Stay in your home.
But I'm gonna play another one, and this one's real controversial and crazy, but it's kind of equally dope in its own sense. Got an open mind and an empty one.
And jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Be shot. Remain calm. Do not panic. Your neighborhood watch officer will be by to collect urine samples in the morning. Anyone caught interfering with the collection of urine samples will be shot.
And jobs.
Stay in your home. Remain calm. The #1 enemy of progress.
See all these cops recently shooting people's pets and whatnot, man. That's just disrespectful.
Is more important than individual will.
Jobs, jobs,
Don't be
and
creative,
jobs.
citizen. Talk about that which they want to spend.
May gather anywhere without permission. Use only the drugs prescribed by your boss or supervisor. Shut up. Be happy. Obey.
So let's play another one from Jello. Yes, his name is Jello by Fry.
I don't know whether you've been following the Saddam Hussein of the United States, George Bush. But like Adolf Hitler, one of the first things he did to whip people up into a blind frenzy of ugly nationalism is make a real big stink about desecration of the national deity. Excuse me.
Jobs,
flag,
jobs, and jobs.
in almost
Let's
identical
vote for
language
jobs.
to Hitler. Every day in school in America, I had to rise and pledge allegiance to the flag, even as the Vietnam War was going on across the street at the University of Colorado. And I was held over all afternoon in 3rd grade to write over
Have
and
an
over
open mind,
again.
not an empty
I
one,
will
people.
not
I'm
laugh
just
during
saying.
flag pledge.
Get that mac
I
and
will
cheese.
not laugh
Everybody
during flag
deserves
pledge.
their mac and cheese. Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's
And I
vote
haven't
for
forgotten
jobs.
either. I pledge defiance to the flag of the United Snakes of Captivity and to the Republic for which it stands. I dip it in kerosene and stick it up the ass of you know who and light it.
Jobs. Science.
One nation under
Get that mac and
God
cheese.
or else. One nation under psychopathic Pentagon gangsters whose idea of national security is concentration camps for people who dare to use the drugs that the CIA brings in and the government supplies themselves.
Get that mac and cheese.
One nation under Wall Street. If the cops and the government are all crooks, I might as well be one too.
Get that mac
One
and cheese.
nation of sedated tabloid robots who actually believe what they see on TV, even on MTV. And when asked what they think about it, they reply,
That ain't real music. God.
One nation drowning in its own garbage, indivisible from the fall of
Good job, people support and buy
Rome,
that
with
plastic
liberty
shit,
and justice for
that shit gets
all
more likes and
who
hits
can
than real
afford
shit.
it.
So I don't know.
Burn, baby, burn.
Science.
Burn, baby,
Okay.
burn.
Shut up already. It's
Old
just a
Glory,
science.
the Yankee swastika. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Whenever I see you, I see
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
Let's vote for jobs.
There's other guys, what they look like, I don't know. This don't make no sense to everybody.
Rates on federally subsidized Stafford student loans are set to double from 3.4% to 6.8%. Now joining us to discuss all of this is Stephen Lenman. Stephen is a writer, author, and radio host. His most recent book is How Wall Street Fleeces America, Privatized Banking, Government Collusion, and Class War. Thank you for joining us, Stephen.
Thank you, Jessica.
So, Stephen, we're hearing that as many as 7 million college students could be affected by this interest rate hike. Can you give us a sense of what sort of loans will be affected, and will students who are renewing loans be affected?
Shit, I've been out of fucking college for almost 10 years and I'm still paying off
the student loan situation might be best to start off with. The only way to describe what's going on
for broadcasting, and I don't work at
an enormous racket
podcast.
Millions of students. Besides Stafford loans,
and they got a lot of likes and hits too.
Close to 40 million students that are entrapped in debt because of the student loan racket. In both of my Wall Street books, I had chapters on this. The chapters were written some time ago because my most recent book, Banker Occupation, came out in December last year. But this is an enormous scam on young people, on a generation of youths. And it's coming not only at a time when millions of kids will finish their education, debt entrapped, but what have they got to look forward to? We have an environment where good jobs aren't available. They're paying thousands of dollars.
They know how to build houses, bitches.
To get an education.
Y'all motherfuckers better learn a trade, or y'all better be good at scanning products at supermarkets and whatnot. Cause don't just bank.
On Monday, they will see the interest rates rise from 3.4%
with a lot of people out there in the market.
Virtually zero. If you're a banker, you pay virtually zero interest rate.
Comes down to hustle, people. College is a scam kind of for these lamps to get people to owe money, man.
It involves debt entrapment. There is no way out from under these loans. If you can't repay them, if you default, you cannot default. You will have penalties. You will have other add-ons. You will literally...
You will like it, citizens. You will buy, pay, love, citizens.
Under them is either die or leave the country.
Science. So, Stephen, let's talk specifically about policy. I want to get
jobs, jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Whatever market rates are, that's what Obama wants. Market rates are very low now. I'm old enough to remember the end of the 1970s and the 1980s. In 1979, average low rates were 11.2%. 2 years later, they peaked in June 1981 at 20%. Well, you know the old expression, what goes around comes around.
And to cut it long story short, we sort of said, look, what we need is €7 billion. And we're going to give you, our proposal to give you is our loan collateral. So we're not giving you ECB, we're actually giving you the loan. So I said we gave them a term sheet and we just put a pro-note facility together. Yeah. And we said that's what we need.
Oh, they need more bailouts, more money.
And it sobered up everybody pretty quickly, Yeah. And why do you need that and what's happening? And Jesus, it certainly focused our minds. So I think...
and is this $7 billion up front?
This is 7.
Get that mac and cheese.
$7 billion bridging.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Wake up and get golden. If you wake up and get golden.
Oh, we are, yeah. What's in the plan? How do you see your life?
Just, as someone would say, picked it out of my arse, I mean, look, what we did was we basically said, what is the amount that we can securitize over the next 6 months?
Yeah.
And basically say to them, look, our problem is time. It's not our ability to create the liquidity. It's the enemy is time here.
Yeah.
So we can rebuild.
Jobs
in other words,
and
we can
jobs.
rebuild the liquidity
A few days ago, I unveiled a new national plan to confront the growing threat of a changing climate. Decades of carefully reviewed science tells us our planet is changing in ways that will have profound impacts on the world we leave our children.
Oh, no.
Already we know that the 12 warmest years in recorded history have all come in the last 15.
Oh, it's warm out
and
there.
the last year was the warmest in American history. And while we know no single weather event is caused solely by climate change, we also know that in a world that's getting warmer than it used to be, all weather events are affected by it. More extreme droughts, floods, wildfires, and hurricanes.
Jobs,
Those who already feel the
jobs,
effects of
and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
They're busy dealing with it. The firefighters who wait longer wildfire seasons. The farmers who see crops wilted one year and washed away the next.
Nothing said about the chemtrails, nothing said about all the cap and trade. He just trying to make that dope.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs.
Americans across the country are already paying prices in action, higher food costs, insurance premiums, and the tab for real.
It's just time to pay the price, not listening to advice, deciding in your youth on the policy of truth.
Like, comment, share, and download GoldenDebateShow.com, the Golden Debate Show. Yes. Hunt these fans with the truth.
Get that mac and cheese, everybody.
Never again is what you swore the time before.
Will seniors be pushed off the fiscal cliff? Social Security did not cause the deficit, but the White House's plan to lower Social Security cost of living benefits could eventually reduce seniors' annual benefits by hundreds of dollars. The gimmick is called the Chain Consumer Price Index. The Chain CPI works this way. As cost of living goes up, seniors inevitably turn to cheaper alternatives. For example, if seniors eat steak, but then can't afford its higher price, they can switch to something cheaper, like cat food. And the cost of living calculation would change to the cheaper item, cat food. So the less you pay for food, the less benefits you get. The Chain CPI benefit cut will chain aging seniors to a poverty of choices, a lower standard of living, with cheaper products. The Chain CPI formula doesn't take into account seniors' rising healthcare costs. If it did, benefits would go up. There is no justification to security.
Especially if you dip them in butter and put a little salsa on them. This country is big time, big time. Forget the bald eagles. You know what the national emblem of this country ought to be? A big bowl of macaroni and cheese. A big bowl, because everything in this country is king size. King size, extra large, and super jumbo. Especially the fucking people.
Is to actually create a new world order, because the global order is changing again, and the institutions will work so well.
This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual close. At this time, all emergency services will be suspended for 12
Warning,
hours.
citizens, obey. They want that first to try to happen.
We have to do it in a way that maximizes benefits for everyone, because obviously it's overwhelmingly in our interest. This is not a zero-sum game. It's overwhelmingly in our interest that China prosper, that Mongolia prosper.
I also came with a message.
Mongolia.
A message for the president.
Let's struggle too.
A message that is loud and clear. A message that doesn't mince words. That's not exactly what I was thinking. That doesn't mince words.
So the American companies and workers can compete in the world that the competition is fair and it's healthy. To the first point, we came into office facing the worst financial recession since the Great Depression. We had to unfreeze the credit markets, reform the financial system, inject demand back into the economy. And while this agenda is far from complete, we've made significant progress with all of your help. The economy is now added private sector jobs every month. Disappointing this month, but they nonetheless added jobs.
Mic check, don't
even
screw
so,
me,
we
yo.
still found
I'm attached off the hip, grip, Mr. 1-2, I'm up the mic shit, mic see a flip, looking like it's a radar. MC's not attached to the mic, caught the radar, moving on the track, looking like Han Solo, Pyramid Carbonite, Mr. Kryptonite, mic over bite, look like Mike Scriptures. MC's don't want none, they go on my richer. We live this shit looking like
that. You gotta talk about it. And the media can't slam you any harder than they're slamming you now. You're not only beating Witness Protection Program Willard Romney and John Huntsman and Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, but you're beating the dumbhead media. You're putting all of them behind Ron Paul. Go ahead now and get out there and whoop Ohio good. Whoop Obama's behind. Whooping with the Constitution. He is wholly and totally ineligible. He's a...
Under what circumstances do you think that classified information should be leaked? Science.
That's a loaded question.
Science.
Classified is...
Watch out for the vamps.
What's happening now is the government increasingly wants to classify as much as possible. Because what that allows them to do is create a larger ambit in which they can charge you for having either retained, disclosed, or leaked classified information. But to answer it directly, if it involves war crimes, if it involves wrongdoing, if it involves violations of statute, then yes. There's very little in government that actually truly ever needs to be classified.
Remember that buddy Drake here?
And always needs to be placed under constant review.
No, not that whack rapper Drake. No. The guy before Snowden, Snowman.
It's not too late to whip it. Whip it good.
Some critics warn the bill doesn't go far enough.
It is a fudge deal.
Yeah, whatever happened to this clip deal?
It's anything else. Probably deludes themselves. I think we are going to hit the problems again come February when President Obama presents his budget for 2014. And clearly one of the issues in that is going to be the debt ceiling and the budget deficit. $16.4 billion is wholly unacceptable.
Some critics warn the bill doesn't go far enough.
It is a fudge deal, and I think anybody who thinks...
Go to YouTube and distribute their material there, rather than expecting people to come to them for it. We have to go to the consumer.
One of the interesting aspects of this, and you raise in your studies...
Get that mac and cheese. Let's hope it's Velveeta.
Where that video came from.
Aluminum.com, like, comment, share, and download
creates the
Golden Debate.
potential for news to be manufactured or even falsified.
Right. YouTube has guidelines that say that you need to attribute who produced the video, who shot it, but there's no way to enforce that those guidelines are followed, as they say, and these are just guidelines. And while YouTube is new as a news source, if someone wants to stage an event, about 5% of the most watched videos on YouTube last year, we could not identify where they came from.
Correspondent Margaret Brennan is traveling with Secretary Clinton in Egypt. Margaret, a former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, once said the U.S. should never deal with the Muslim Brotherhood. So how did this meeting go today?
Well, it required some diplomacy. Secretary Clinton was in an uncomfortable position. Remember, the U.S. government financially and militarily supported the Mubarak regime, which jailed members of the Muslim Brotherhood, including Mohammed Morsi himself. So today, this face-to-face exchange, I'm told, was constructive. One State Department official told me it lasted around an hour. The president shook the secretary's hand and told her the expectations of the Egyptian people are high. There is no going back. I'm told in particular they had a good exchange on the economy. They need U.S. aid right now and
Oh, them motherfuckers ain't having it. They ain't having that shit.
An inquiry into the article.
Me neither. Like I'm sure
found insufficient evidence of wrongdoing by the general, his military aides, and civilian advisors. The Inspector General's report also questioned the accuracy of some aspects of the article, which was repeatedly defended by Mr. Hastings and Rolling Stone. Zach, what do you make of this? Do you give the benefit of the doubt to Rolling Stone?
Certainly. I mean, if you go through the Inspector General report that they're referring to there, of course the Inspector General doesn't confirm every last detail that Michael Hastings got in his report, because the people who said things that were inflammatory and controversial in the report aren't just going to turn around and tell the IG, yes.
So it's a good time, my golden people. I do this for y'all because we stay golden one step ahead.
The general talks to a third parties, doesn't he?
Certainly, I think so. And if you go through the report, you can actually see that the IG actually says, in many circumstances, we confirm that the basic substance of the exchange took place, but perhaps not in the precise context in which Hastings portrayed them. I think it's absurd to look at an IG report and say, okay, it's supposed to corroborate every detail of an incredibly
That man is Elmo Gonif, self-proclaimed pacifist turned terrorist. And today, he and other members of the Gonif Peace Coalition are wanted in connection with the council bombing. And hey, citizen, you can help. Know your neighbors? Take another look, citizen. You could be living next door to a big fat reward. If you see something, say something. Would you like to know more?
Get that mac and cheese. Everybody deserves their mac and cheese.
Lost their lives yesterday. There isn't much peace in Afghanistan. There isn't much peace in Pakistan, and there certainly isn't much peace in Syria. And the side I'm on in Syria is the one, what I agree with is the statement by Oxfam, where Oxfam said sending arms to the Syrian opposition won't.
They're already impatient. Now anger is building about what has happened while they've been out of their homes.
You're supposed to be here to protect us,
to that mac and
keep
cheese.
looters away, and they're the ones doing the looting.
Deserves their mac and cheese.
It came to a head yesterday as word spread among High River residents. The RCMP had seized hundreds of guns from evacuated homes. The RCMP's own video of the days following the flood shows they did go into houses.
Looking for any signs of anybody who's in distress or needs assistance.
But the force says it only took guns that posed a safety risk.
In those situations when they were out in plain view and they were not properly secured and stored, those firearms were taken by the RCMP members and safely secured.
The Prime Minister's office jumped into the controversy with a statement chastising the RCMP. We expect they will be returned to their owners as soon as
the
possible,
Canadians,
the
the Mounties can't even use their stocks, just stealing guns from the floods and the guns and the floods and the floods and the
terrible things caused
by the
shortage
on meat and the sequester and the Ryan sequesters, well,
kids losing vaccines, and meat shortages. And now the Department of Homeland Security says it has been forced to release hundreds of undocumented workers back into the United States.
Breaking news.
Let's get back to our breaking news this morning. We know that admitted NSA leaker Edward Snowden has left Hong Kong, and reports say he's on his way to Russia right now, but that's not expected to be his final destination. Joining me now on the phone is Glenn Greenwald. He's a journalist who interviewed Snowden and broke the NSA story in the Guardian newspaper. Glenn, thanks for joining us.
So that's the wise guy that got the
So you tweeted earlier the fact that a person flies to city X does not mean that that is their intended ultimate destination. First of all, what do you mean by that?
And because of the crisis, which
well, there seems to be, there's ever since Snowden first emerged as a whistleblower, the U.S. government and the media have been doing what they owe to the whistleblower, just trying to keep an eye on them. And there are suggestions this morning that he must be defecting to Russia. They were alleging that he was going to defect to China, or that he's headed to Cuba, trying to cast some sort of nefarious mood to what it is that he's doing.
Solely that of the host, guests, and sources, and is only to keep free thought alive. Golden Show, earlymorningmob.com.
Yeah, here's what you talking about. Yeah, here's what you talking about. Yeah, here's what you talking about.
Science. Get that mac and cheese.
Like that all day.
Up on the screen, a photograph of a street corner, 11th Avenue and West 26th Street. We'll never see it not very far from here. And there is what appears to be a street sign that basically says attention, authorized drone strike zone, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. This is obviously some sort of a joke, but people take this in
peace. Some power to the people. Like, comment, shine down, let them out.
To the militarization of the police.
Open minds on that.
We look at something like this and don't think anything of it.